We've created some functionality that allows you to, for those of you who are reporting data through the HIVQM module, and James will show you where to upload that. We'll create the file first, and then we'll look in the EHBs and the Bureau reporting system where that occurs. All right. So the HIVQM is our performance measures. So let's take a look at that side of things. So I'm in CAREWare, I'm in reports, and then if I go down here to performance measures, you'll see a link at the bottom here, and this has been in CAREWare, so some of you may have been aware of this already. And we can create these export groups. What are these groups? These are basically, you have a bunch of performance measures. You don't want to keep selecting them each time, so you can create groups of measures, grab that group, run that group of measures, export the file, and then upload that file. So we've tried to make that more efficient. So the first thing we do is we create a group. In this case, we have one called Core Group Measures here. And we can see in that group, once we've created the group, we can add any measures we want to that. In this case, I have these 4 measures here. There's also, maybe, there's that other one people are looking for, the core annual retention. So let's add that one here too as well. All right, so we created a group of, and let's edit the name of that because it's now 1 to 5. We've added performance measures to that group. And now we can run that whole group of measures. We don't have to select them each time, because part of the HIVQM is you go in every certain period and rerun all your measures so they're updated. So this allows you to create that group of measures. They've already been selected, because maybe you have 50 of them. You could have all of these broken down by age and gender. So we could have a lot here. You don't want to have to select those each time. So you can see how this will bring about a much more efficient approach to that. So let's after we've got that group and we've got the measures that we like in there, we'll select that guy and hit evaluate. Now here we can do a couple things. We can set we can change the settings here. We can change the date. We could run a beginning and end date. But then we can also use these other settings for date. We could go set to last to 365 days. So you can see it automatically changed from today's date of November 10th back to a year ago. And then there's another setting here you can see, which are these HRSA time frames. And the HRSA time frame, and for those who are involved in the HIVQM program and have uploaded data and done this, this will be quite familiar to you. But basically, you have these reporting periods which are updated each quarter, and then it goes back a whole quarter. So here we have the whole year of 2020. Here it's back, up through September, going back a year. June 30th, back a year. March 31st, back a year. So these are just these quarterly submissions looking back a year. So this just makes it easier to do that. I'm just going to grab this one here. We'll save that. And we'll make sure it's this HIVQM format. All right? So there we go. We've selected our group. We have all the measures we want in there. In this case, we added one. We have 5 measures. We set the date range to the one we wanted. And now we want to run it. Let's run it first and output it. Again, I generally recommend before you upload things to our EHB, sort of your final stuff, although usually, even with the RSR, you could submit another one. I generally recommend running things, looking at them, evaluating your data, and then if things look good, then run it again in your final format. So I'm going to just output this as a PDF here. Right now, CAREWare is that, and we'll open it as a PDF there. And I don't have much data, but here are my 5 measures. And you can see the primary fields I have here. I have the provider with the provider ID. I'll give you there. By the way, in your handout on the last page, there's a table showing all the fields. So I could show that here. But we have the provider ID, which you'll be aware. You'll know that, and we'll show you again where you store that in CAREWare. The name of the provider. This just defaults to CAREWare because we get other people using other software packages. We get the number of the measure, the name of the measure, the report start date, the end date, the date it was submitted, that we ran it, and then the number of records reviewed, and the numerator and denominator. We're getting chopped off here, so hold on. Looks like it's chopping it off there, which isn't good. Maybe we'll have to change the format of our layout or something. Hold on. I'll have to look into that because it should show the numerator and the denominator there. Maybe I'm not seeing how I can do that. It looks like I'm going to have to report this to the help desk. All right, so there's our PDF. Hopefully next version that comes out, we'll be able to see the denominator. Let's go back now to our settings here. And let's run that now. And instead of outputting it to a PDF, let's output it to the file that we're going to upload. And that's what's called a CSV, or similar to an Excel file. Okay, we're now running it again. But this time it's going to output it as a CSV. Oops, and I'm going to grab a drink of water here. All right. Let's download that file. And we'll, like we did before with the RSR, let's save it on our desktop. And we'll call it HIVQM Test 2020 with the date on it, 7/11. So that's a CSV file. We'll take a look at it in a sec, but name it and put it on a location that makes it easy for you to find. And there it is. Now let's open that guy up. Hold on, it's coming on my other screen here. And there it is. I can bring it over. So there's my file. And now you should recognize all these fields for each of our measures, and now we can see everything. We can see the total records reviewed. We can see the numerator and the denominator. Not doing so well here, but a lot of data hasn't been entered into this fake data. So there we go. So we have run these 5 measures. We've got all our fields lined up. Now note here, if we had any age criteria or gender, race, or HIV risk factor information, those would be coded here. And there's a cheat sheet on that, which I sent out, which would show the codes for gender and race and risk, and those would be shown here. So we know that 1 is male, and 2 is female, and 3 is transgender, and the like. And similar with race. I don't have that. I don't have that in front of me, but it should be like on the final page of your handout. So there we go. That's our file. It's a CSV. It's in the format. You don't want to do anything to it. You don't want to edit this because this was generated accurately by CAREWare. But that is the file that is what would be uploaded to your. That would be the file that would be uploaded to the website. I'm trying to bring that puppy over here. All right. So here's my folder, my desktop, and there's the folder. There's the file that I just output, and that's the file that I would upload to the HIVQM website. And again, is as in most of these cases, you can always rerun things and re-upload them. At that point, I am going to stop talking, thank goodness, and I'm going to hand this now back to James, maybe you can finish up by, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and you can demonstrate to users where they would go on the EHB to upload that file.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so here is a view of where you're going to upload that file. To upload it, you would just first click the Choose File link right there. And then once you locate it, wherever you saved it on your computer, you would just click Upload. And then for further instructions, I would highly recommend checking out the HIVQM manual, a link to which I'll display at the end of this presentation. And I can also add out the link to that manual as well.